let them join. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. Ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa. This is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber, and this is our monthly Global Chamber Tokyo conversation. And the good news around that is that we have actually 14 official chapters in Japan, and we're going to have several represented here today. And we also have Kaoru Nishi Nakagawa-san, who is our advisor, Global Chamber Board Chair advisor for both Tokyo and Sydney. And she's going to give us a little bit of an update from Sydney as well. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to start with Kaoru. Good morning in Sydney. How is everything going there? You were mentioning before the recording started that it's a bit windy, a cyclone.
Yeah, it's usually Sydney is known for the best weather, but yeah, yesterday and today, it's definitely not the case, but it's gonna go by the end of today. So we bring the nice winter day back. So for those I never met before, my name is Kaoru. I moved to Australia 14 years ago, right after the earthquake in Japan. So pretty much I have more knowledge in Sydney than Japan these days, I have to say, although I understand the cultural things in Japan or what's going on at a very high level still. So Australia definitely economy-wise improving maybe last 1 year, and interest rates coming down. However, obviously the Trump effect is really causing a little bit uncertainty in this market as well, especially the exporting of the steel and aluminum industries that's going to get hit, and also the defense relationship between Australia and Japan. It's kind of rocky road now because the US start asking for more, on contrary to what we agreed upon before. So it's always like a little bit gray area. However, alliance still there, but Japan, Australia is getting closer because of it too, because everyone has a little bit uncertainty about the future in terms of defense and collaboration. So those two countries, as a midway, it's been called in the market, has been getting closer. The crazy things in Australia, I don't know if you ever heard of it, the housing price here is really out of whack, particularly Sydney. Median price of the normal house is 1.2 million for wherever you go, to be honest. And around my house, it's like a $5 million for a 3-bedroom house without any view. So the price start going up again because interest rate is coming down. So people have more confidence. So they start jumping onto the market. So housing market usually a good indication for Australia, how the economy is doing. So Australia's recovering little by little with some certain uncertainty from an external effect. But yeah, life goes on. Then Australia trying to definitely strengthen the defense, definitely the capabilities to protect the country, to prepare for what might come based on what's going on in the world. However, we are very far away from all other countries. So we're probably one of the safest countries in the world. And people still enjoy running around the beach, 5 a.m. and playing golf, and life is great here. So I'll shut up there.
Put another shrimp on the Barbie, for sure.
Yeah.
Historically, a very relaxing. So that must be part of the reason why you live there. Do you enjoy that kind of
Definitely.
lower pace?
100%. It's opposite from Japan in many ways. Japan is all about details, make things perfect. If you don't make things perfect, you'll fail. You're failure, whatever that people call it. Here is like people try to perfect things, but keep moving. They run while they're doing. So it's a completely different pace. And even if it doesn't go well, people just get up and keep running and then find something new. So it's completely different culture. And I'm in the innovation section, usually in the industry, so which is more suited. The culture is more suited. The recent article came out yesterday. Australia generate most unicorn, again, like for based on the investment we have in this country. So maybe obviously we have a small investment. The country is small, economy is not big. However, the ratio of generating unicorns is the highest in the world. So that shows like this place is made to create a new innovation, startups. However, we need more money injections. So that's why I'm trying to connect Japanese corporate who's always on the hunt for new startups to Australian market, because this is a good land to hunt for the new up and coming startups.
How are you doing that? How is Money learning about what some of these opportunities are? How do you actually bring investors in, or how does that work?
So luckily, so compared to 10 years ago when I started these activities, nobody was looking at Australia. People didn't expect anything new coming from Australia. They thought it was just nature, beef, just koala, kangaroo, that was it. But these days, those Japanese companies start realizing a lot of good technology coming from Australia. A lot of big Japanese companies actually made a big investment in Australia startups too. So people start realizing, so they're already here. Most of the Japanese companies have branches in Australia. So just the extra things they start doing it, but I try to guide them through like which industry is better, or try to make connections. Not only startup, maybe some of them are really start putting money into the R&D activities at the universities as well. So I think the activity is definitely expanding. Step one, they already realize this is a good land to hunt for new technology and leading edge technologies. Two, they kind of know where to go in terms of like a VCs and stuff, but see, they want to differentiate themselves to engage with the specific industries, specific startups. Then I can step in to help them make the connections.
Got it. Does anybody have any questions for Kaoru? David, maybe your first time to meet, I think.
Yep. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, Kaoru. Yeah, no, it sounds quite interesting what's happening over there in Australia with the Japanese businesses having different branches. I think what is the engagement between the Japanese businesses and the Australians? I mean, Japan is a very eclectic culture from my experience. It is a very unique, it is a very distinct. How is that engagement? I mean, I'm a US citizen in Japan right now, going through that type of immersion. But how is it for Japanese in Australia? I haven't been to Australia myself yet.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I think they're going through, Australians are going through similar sentiments as you. So Japanese are going through different sentiments. So basically, as you mentioned, Japanese want to do want to go through the thorough processes, just a step by step, making triple sure nothing goes bad. But Australians want to move quicker, they want to make sure nothing goes wrong, but they want to make move and they can correct as they run, so that's a huge difference. And Australian feeling that confusion because Japanese companies don't move quick enough, and they keep making sure something that seems to be irrelevant to the connection. So I've been there before, so I understand where they're coming from, but they need money. So they just try to stay put and follow whatever Japanese company asks them to do. That's the Australian sentiment. Also, but they understand that they like usually Japanese culture. They like Japanese. Now Japan is #1 destination for travel for Aussie as well. So they love Japanese culture in general. So they try to see the good side of Japanese, even though they're confused and they struggle to engage. Japanese side, they think Australians a bit too rough and rough on the edge and the very, very big picture and not detail oriented enough. So Japanese feeling like a little bit frustrated, not getting what they want, but they don't understand they're the very extreme side in the world. So, but they are confused and frustrated themselves. However, they get it done. And once they are in, they're in for the long term. That's why they want to make sure, right, for Japan side wise. So yeah, so they feel like, oh, there's something good in this land in Australia, but they are very, very encountered that huge difference in culture between Australia and Japan, and they used to US style a little bit because all of them in the US, right? So Americans a bit more progressive and aggressive, and they say what they want, and they also move fast, but they're much more vocal, and very open, in my opinion. Australians not necessarily that. Australians in between Japan and Australia, they say what they want, but they're very, very careful about how they say it, and they could be very, very conservative as well, like Japanese in the way. So I think in the way Japan, Australia is a bit more easier to align themselves. But however, saying that Japan is very extreme in any way, and they struggle wherever they go, I would say.
Interesting. Thank you.
It all comes together on golf, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, for me, yes. Yeah, I'm an avid golfer. I just recently joined a second golf club as a member so that I can bring some people from Japan or US to experience the great golf courses in Australia. Also meet the business people. I try to build some kind of networking organization to including all the travel setup. And so, I mean, networking with everyone, all the golf courses in Australia. I've been meeting from Japan side too, who knows all golfers. So try to make a connection, because while I don't know if any of you play golf, but when you play golf, it's like a 4.5 time you're stuck with the people, so you cannot help but learn about the people. It's the best way to know the people's character, and you can be confident to the business with the person or not. It could be a great interaction that you make a forever friends, or something you just never want to see, again. So it's an interesting one. But also, yeah, I think it's a great way. I know it's a little bit old fashioned these days. A lot of young people might not play. I notice people do more cycling in LA and stuff, I imagine. But yeah, here still it works. And a lot of executives play golf. A very, very, yeah, boys club, have to say. So I also want to change that a little bit.
So Australia we call as down under. Yuki is also very familiar with down under, but down under Honshu, a place called Kyushu in Fukuoka. So it's way down there in the south of Japan. And I think originally, Yuki, you're from that area, right? And you've certainly got family there. You're traveling in Japan right now. We know you through your work with Thunderbird, and now you've got some other things going with incubators in Japan. Could you let us know what you've been involved with here recently and share maybe some opportunities that we should know about?
Thank you. Yeah, right on. It was really interesting to listen to Kaoru's and David's interaction. That's exactly what I think and struggle too. So, yes, I'm born and raised in Fukuoka, and I went to New York for college. So I didn't know anything about like American culture really. So I struggled so much. There's a different definition of leaderships. So, my career has become more like a community builder. So like I have a personal passion to connect different kind of people, different communities together. So oftentimes I find myself being a bridge between different institutions, communities. So this time I've been staying in Tokyo for 1 month for work. And because my friend was coming from Phoenix, I was able to join Venture Cafe Tokyo for the first time. Herself is also trying to be a bridge between Japan and Arizona specifically. Then because of the TSMC, they're creating huge manufacturing factory in Kumamoto, which is also Kyushu. So I think they're trying to be sister city or some sort of connection between them, because Arizona, Kumamoto, or Kyushu, we're often forgotten. So we're trying to be like, put ourselves out there. So I'm not sure exactly what role I would take in there, but definitely Japanese companies and Japanese communities are really becoming more out forward, like thinking outside of Japan compared to before, because we know all we have here is kind of shrinking. So we have to go outside. I would say opportunities everywhere, in any nature. They just want to have some sort of connection outside of Japan.
Awesome.
Do you still have a relationship with Thunderbird, or what kind of work relationship do you have these days?
Yeah, so with Thunderbird, I just graduated last May, and funny, I'm even using the mug cup of Thunderbird. I am taking a leadership role in the Oregon chapter because in the States, I live in Portland, Oregon. So they're trying to revive their alumni chapter there. So that's that. And I'm also taking a part of admission process because we are required to have interview with alumni. So I guess I'm now becoming someone to interview the candidates. So with Thunderbird, that's what I be doing.
Sounds good. Does anybody have questions for Yuki?
Well, my parents live in Kagoshima, so Kyushu is
Yeah.
definitely not forgotten. I was there for
Yes.
1 month, last month, and I think that's step up and coming. And TSMCs are hugely focused on. I was in semiconductor field when I was younger, so that's
Wow.
one way Japan can revive. Maybe they had all the technologies and capability. Funny enough, they push away from Japan once, but they need to take it back. So it's a
Right.
bit funny, and it's a bit sad in the way, but we need to do whatever, to revive the economy, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mhm. Oh, sorry. Actually, I have a quick question for Yuki-san. You mentioned at the start that you noticed a different definition of leadership between America and Japan. And so I'm curious
Yeah.
if you could elaborate on that a bit more in terms of is leadership defined in Japan, would you say?
Right. I would say not everyone, but in the Western culture, people seems to like heroes, like the louder, like stronger ones, like, hey, here, look, I'm the leader kind of leadership. So I think it's more traditional, easy to spot them. But in the Japanese culture, I would say you want to do something good behind the scenes. So being humble, being quiet is something more admired. So that's like the route I was going, trying to, keep my head down and staying kind of quiet in the meeting. But in my first year, I started my career in New York City. So my first career was accountant. So I joined a meeting there. Then I didn't say anything, just like, being humble first year employee. So I was taking notes, trying to be attentive through my gesture, but nothing vocal. Then after that meeting, my supervisor, she was like, "Can you talk to us? Can you have a moment?" I was like, "Uh-oh." Then she was like, "What were you doing in this an hour?" So I was like, listening to you guys, taking notes. And she told me that if you don't say anything, don't come join the meeting because you could spend that an hour for something else. So you see, like,
Wow.
depending on how you see it, it's a whole different way to take it. So
That's so
yeah.
interesting. And so how do you like balance that, I suppose, when you're maybe working across cultures? Do you just like put on a different persona depending on where you are, or do you do a mix of the two?
Unfortunately, depending on your industry and location, you have to adjust yourself 100%. You have to move 100% to meet where they are because they're not even aware that there are differences.
Mhm.
So I would be lucky if there's someone who is at least aware that there are differences, because that way they're at least looking at towards my direction. So maybe they can come like 10, 20%, then I can do only like 80% or so. Like I understand I'm the one like minority living in the States, so I will do majority of the work. So oftentimes there's like out of my control. Like I have to adjust myself for them,
Mm.
but they don't know that I have to carry that, weight.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly the same here too. Louder is better. Japan admire quiet achievers, so it's a
Right.
huge difference.
I learned that when I had a team of people and we did global teleconferences, and we were sitting in Toronto in Tokyo, and there were Geneva people, and then there were Wilmington, Delaware people with DuPont. And of course, we had the short end of the stick. We had to be at midnight, and Geneva was around lunchtime, and the US was breakfast. So they got all the convenience of timing. But then we were there and we tried to interject. And even me, after a couple of years in Japan, I ended up being a lot quieter and more less interjecting and trying to interrupt like Americans do. And the first couple times we did it, we couldn't get a word in edgewise. Like, because of the way video works, you have to speak over someone to get camera time, and in those days anyway, and we could never get on because the Americans and the Europeans kept speaking with each other and talking over each other, and we were sitting back waiting for our time to speak, and the time never comes because they're talking over each other, which is not a very much at all a Japanese way. So it's beyond leadership. There's just a way of, it seems courteous, but it's just kind of the speed of life in different cultures.
Yeah. Yeah.
David, you must be seeing a little bit of that as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about your situation? Because we knew you as a member in Phoenix, and then suddenly you disappear, and there you are, eating udon noodles and near Osaka. So tell us a little bit more about your journey.
Yeah, it's I came out here just about a year ago. I was working as a product designer, also a director of global innovation for a 100-year-old manufacturing firm. The firm in SUMOTO City was dealing with high pressure washers. So they're well known throughout all of Japan. Domestic company, 30% market share of high pressure washers. So they provide high pressure washers to the Japanese military, to Disneyland here. So very kind of quiet company, but they have a very good network. I did enjoy every moment. It was actually going out there was to continue trying to work on steam cleaners, which is what I talked to you about probably 2 years ago. I think so. But that's something where business has changed. Trying to get the capital to start that up to put together the new type of designs did not work out. So I branched off from that company. I'm currently in process for my business management visa. I had to raise some capital for the new company that I'm running here in Japan. So right now, Sherman's Galleries Japan Goto Kaisha is the company that I'm running here in SUMOTO City. And Sherman's Galleries LLC is the USA brand that's in Phoenix, Arizona. So what the company does is make shooting targets. What I have found out is that with AI, there's been a revolution and change. I mean, just from ChatGPT down to the development of 3D models. So originally when I was working with sketches, just drawing with a piece of paper and pen what I had in my mind. I eventually moved over to software because it was faster than having a contractor build out what I would see. So when I saw shooting targets, I thought, you know what? You have all these different AI systems now that can create 3D models. And so what my company does right now, I have a designer in Sri Lanka, and he works pretty much full time. He's a contractor though. But we have put out our first product onto Amazon. I just had a conversation earlier today for a shooting range in Oceanside, California, where I'm from. So the goal is to really hypercharge the ability to use artificial intelligence to actually design unique characters. So the artificial kind of intelligence platform that I'm using is the same one that Activision for Call of Duty uses. So my team's very small. It's my business partner's name's Matt. We went to college together, played basketball together at Babson College. So he's in Massachusetts. I'm here in SUMOTO, Japan, working on the manufacturing side. He's on the import side for the US. So the objective is to be the best innovative target manufacturer in the United States. And so far, what we've created, we already had competitors on Amazon try to say our product is an adult product because they didn't like us. So I love it. I think it's great because we are making the most design-oriented and incredible characters. So we already have 20 characters done. We're about to finish our 30 in the next 3 weeks. My goal is to push paper targets, move into different shooting targets, and then eventually take those targets into an immersive shooting style. So the secret, I'm a Thunderbird as well, is it's a backdoor mission, which is right now America has a lot of gun violence. I'm a gun owner myself. It was nice in Phoenix. I can carry a pistol in my hip. I did that myself. I like off-roading, but gun violence is really, really big in the US, and a way to channel, to have less deaths, I think, is to train people, is to give them more opportunities to shoot guns that's not, focused on human silhouettes. So I'm trying to go, the borders frequented by trade seldom need soldiers, the Thunderbird motto, in a different angle, to stop gun violence in America. But you kind of have to go in the darkness to kind of make a difference. So that's the objective, is to bridge Japan manufacturing, American creativity, export products from Japan into the United States, and leverage AI, as well as become a leading target manufacturer in the United States. That's my goal.
Amazing. Why SUMOTO City? What was the connection?
The company I worked with before, SUMOTO SEIBIKI, they are based out of here. So my wife and I, she's a Thunderbird as well. We moved out here. We bought a house. We live in the house out here right now, and I operate right next to Japanese rice paddies. So I'm in countryside, but there's a Panasonic Energy building just down the street. But that's how I made my way out here. So I'm kind of just in a small little town. I love it. It's very quiet. Sometimes I play my guitar. That's about it. But I have my dog here, so I'm happy.
Amazing. You guys have questions for David?
I have a good question. So living in rural areas, do you speak any Japanese, or does that cause you any trouble? Like, how does the neighbors takes you in?
Well, this is countryside, so this is Awaji Island. I would have to say that the business relationship when I did come to the area helped out a lot. Shohei, who's the person that I worked with directly. I mean, we call each other brothers. His brother is, like, I think, a managing partner of Accenture. So there is a high connection in that point, which his name is known throughout this city. So at the end of the day, I would say my neighbors have been a very interesting subject, and I'm not going to go into that. But I would say I'm along the belief that stay in your lane, respect the culture, understand that I'm a guest in Japan. I'm a US citizen. I will always be one, but I completely respect the Japanese culture. I think it's phenomenal. I think it is an exhilarating. I'm half Vietnamese, Scottish and Irish. So to see kind of the Asian side, if you will. I mean, I'm 34 years old. I spent my whole life in the United States, traveled a little bit, but it's fascinating to see a whole different side of culture. I mean, here in SUMOTO, most people have black hair everywhere. We don't have many foreigners, even though I'm one. My wife's a foreigner too, but she's a 1/4% Japanese, blonde, kind of strawberry brown hair or whatever. But I would say I'm along the beliefs that translation software in the next 3 to 5 years, that's my prediction, is in the next 3 to 5 years, it really comes down to body language and the energy that you radiate towards others. Because whether I had to get my taxes filed or open up different tax filings when I establish my business, or establish the salary that I have to pay myself at the Japanese pension office, the staff fill out all of my documents for me. They will help me. I bring up Google Translate. I talk to them. I can't write Japanese. Skoshi hanashimasu nihongo, mada mada desu yo. So I have to learn the actual language. I don't really speak it, but I'm spending a lot of my time on the technical side. So I think it's really about being a good person, maximizing and leveraging translation tools, and honestly realizing I'm a guest here, right? So that's why I would say it's challenging, but it's so much more easier because I can't speak the language, so I can read everyone's body language. I can sense them. I can see them. I can read their face. You can just tell right away whether someone's going to help you or not. And I'd say Japan is, they will either help you and go above and beyond and over the rainbow, or the other half is, nope, wakaranai. So I think that's my thing. Yes, it's challenging with the language, but I would love to learn more Japanese. Absolutely. But I just have a feeling that the global business environment, that's my prediction, next 3 to 5 years, translations is going to change the way business is done because it's going to drop the barriers in communication. So the
Yeah, it
golf
is super
is
insightful
important.
because my future goal, maybe in 5 years or so, is to bring different immigrants or like foreigner guests for a longer term in rural areas. So I've been always curious to see how people merges with each other. So
You know, it's you're from Japan, you went to New York, and that's a whole different ball game from even California. New York is a whole different animal. That's East Coast.
right.
I I think it's just a global world today. I think it really, really is. I mean, the ability for me to search with ChatGPT when I was getting my master's in 2021, I didn't have ChatGPT. And when I use it now, I use ChatGPT all day, every day for everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And you shouldn't even be worried about it. It's your free assistant. Well, I pay for the subscription, but uh, yeah, no, I think it's about the human interaction. I mean, there's people
I
you
think
like, there's people
that's
you
so
don't.
right. Yeah. And the rural areas, we are kind of disappearing because we simply don't have enough people. Like when I see kids walking on my hometown, I feel like I'm seeing a deer or something on the street. Is that a child? Child walking on the street. So,
Yes.
yeah,
It is that is actually very dangerous when driving around here because the roads are very small where I live.
right. Oh,
You
yeah.
see little Kodomos with their Shiro helmets. Like it's beautiful. It's an amazing sight to see. I love being in the rural countryside, to tell you the truth. I really, really do.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
that's encouraging. Thanks for sharing.
Of course.
Feel like I start seeing a lot of Americans or foreigners buying a lot of cheap houses in Japan these days. No, that's a trend because it's affordable, obviously. I don't know if they understand the consequence of the cultural difference, but at least that's happening for now. I don't know after what happened afterwards because I don't live there now, but like what you explained, maybe that's what's happening there. Like especially countryside, it's harder to accept the foreigners probably, but it's changing little by little. But even inside of Japan community, my friends moved from Tokyo to Miyakonjo. That's one of the small city in Miyazaki because they need more people. So they give 10,000, no, what's Japanese say, 1 million yen if they move to the city or something. So countryside are trying hard to bring people into the area that might include foreigners in the future, but these days they try to do it domestically even. And my friends are enjoying the countryside life because he was born and raised in Tokyo. And now he just teach Pilates online so he can work from anywhere. And yeah, he just loves it. But yeah, it's a big issue in Japan, just population declining, and Japan didn't do a good job to bring in people from outside, like for example Australia, because Australian population is declining, but overall population is increasing because we have so many immigrants and they did well, so much less climbs here, even though maybe in Sydney, more than 40%. Oh, right now, I don't know, roughly 40% of people when parents are not born in Australia. So it's definitely the much more melting pot here, but not many climbs. Well, we talked about gun a little bit. It's not allowed here, although of course gangs have guns. And sometimes it happens once a year, maybe twice a year. We heard that somebody got shot dead. They're only the gangs, fight, but that's rare. So I think Japan need to learn how to do it, but they need to know they need to do it. I feel like the Japanese government and people don't think they need to do it, So yeah, I feel that every time I go back to Japan, watching TVs and stuff and variety TV, people talking about immigrants, oh, foreigners not following Japan's rules, and it's just too specific, like they have no openness sometimes, and yeah, but they don't understand the need foreigners support these days.
Alexandra's going to be a foreigner of sorts coming up. She's made the decision after graduating in international relations from Pomona College in California, living in Phoenix, to go to Japan for 10 months in Yokohama and immerse in the language. And so, Alexandra, that's coming up next month, I think, as early as next month. How are you feeling about that, and how does that play into the conversation we've been having for you?
No, definitely. Thank you, Doug. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm very excited to be going to Japan. I did study abroad there in college, and love my experience. I just have found that I have this really deep passion for learning Japanese and just Japanese culture. I do have like half Japanese background, but my family's been here for many generations, so we're very much American at this point. But yeah, there's just always something that I've been really passionate about for it. And so I kind of started self-studying. And then now I want to try to use Japanese in my career somehow. And I've taken an interest in sort of the business world and marketing and just becoming kind of like a person who can build bridges, as Yuki does, between like the US and Japan. And helping support that kind of transition to this more global world. So, but yeah, I think definitely I hear you, David, when you're talking about like, figuring out the pension stuff or like the taxes and all that, because we received our like document thing where it's telling us all the steps you need to do, right? To get your visa figured out, to get once you arrive, like how do you sign up for the national health insurance and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you look at it now and it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But yeah, I think that, it seems kind of crazy right now, but I'm very excited as well. And I'll be studying, yes, as Doug said, in Yokohama, with the Inter-University Center through Stanford, to do it's like a business Japanese language immersive program. So I'm just really looking forward to it, but I certainly understand some of the like challenges of getting there for the first time. Yeah, and I'm feeling it.
ChatGPT, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it myself. I mean, I have an immigration attorney, and hey, you got to go get us this document, that document. It's kind of, you have an attorney. Sometimes if you need more help, there's going to be a higher fee. I'm trying to keep costs low, so he'll tell me what he needs. And I'll ask ChatGPT, and I'm so surprised that even in SUMOTO, it knows what I need to do or what's the next steps. And so I highly recommend that AI stuff really works. I couldn't believe, but I think you'll be just fine, especially if you're taking the time to learn the language. You will be able to navigate way better than I am. You'll see me walking around and I have my phone and I'm screenshotting, and that's my life here. But I think you're gonna love it. Yokohama's a great place, very busy for import export.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Where in Yokohama are you going to stay?
So I'll be living close to, I think like my closest station is Sakuragicho, I think.
Yeah, the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty central, pretty urban.
Yeah.
I think my apartment, because I just kind of applied for a place, they say it's like a 25-minute commute from where the IUC center is. So yeah, I think it's pretty urban central sort of living.
Yeah, okay, 25 minutes. The center must be a little bit out worse than yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because yeah, Kaoru-san, you studied at Yokohama
yeah, I
State,
went to
right?
Yokohama University in Yokohama, and I lived in Yokohama for 3 years afterwards too. And yeah, but look, it's been a while since I left Japan. But yeah, Yokohama is good, especially so many foreigners. That's it's easier to jump in, rather than just go straight to countryside like David. I think so. Yeah, I think yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be just fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anybody else have any thing that they'd like to share or any closing comments you'd like to make?
I guess actually I would throw out a question just because we've been talking about it, kind of about this use of AI. And obviously AI has become so helpful, but there is a part of me who is going to Yokohama to really learn the language for business purposes. I do wonder, like, is this going to become irrelevant? I don't think it will completely, but I certainly do ask questions like, am I really going to be using this in 5 years, 10 years, however long it is? So yeah, I don't know. I just throw that out as a question for people.
What do you guys think?
I'm not the AI expert by any stretch of means. I think it's more, are you asking along the lines of what you're learning from like a business perspective or the actual experience? Could you clarify a little bit more about
Yeah.
what part? Like,
Yeah,
I was
maybe
trying to understand.
more so from probably the business side, I would say. Just in terms of how we're having so many businesses, in Japan going outward, and then also, of course, people are coming to Japan as well. So kind of understanding, I think, of course, there's those cultural differences to navigate, but I wonder sometimes if when the language is streamlined, will that kind of help eliminate some of the difficulties that we face in global business? I mean, I have
I'm
questions
shaking my
about
head.
it, but
No. Japan is so eclectic. That's my word. Japan is, even if you could have a translator talk perfect Japanese, there's still that slight edge that if someone took the time to learn Japanese, you may not be their best friend, but you'll definitely hit a different level of respect that you can never touch by using a translator like I do. So I try my best to wheel and deal my side, but the language is huge. So no, I think that by learning the language, by spending time in Japan, you will build an affinity from the Japanese. No doubt about it. It's a different level of respect. So it doesn't depreciate. I think that if there's AI that helps you, it's just gonna elevate your experience. But no, you got to learn the language. I'm countryside, so if you don't speak, and I'm in Kansai Ben area, so it's a little bit different than Tokyo Ben. So, shindoi this, I'm tired. It's like I had to learn two different things when I was studying, and I'm like, what's shindoi? And they're like, shindoi. And I'm like, okay, tired. All right, I'm tired, sure. But
yeah, honma.
no, Japan is a very interesting place. Lovely, but eclectic, different style.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think that communication is much more than, language. So the more I think about it, the more AI spreads out in the society, the more popularity I think the Thunderbird, our school, would gain. Because Thunderbird is not necessarily strong with the hard skills. Like we're not great at finance or business knowledge, but what we're great at is a people skill. So I think something like that can never taken away from people, us. So yeah.
It,
Well said.
Alexandra, that's sort of like when you were an intern a couple of years ago and the Japanese really missed you when you left. And that was because of those soft skills that you don't learn unless you really care and you really want to learn. And you've demonstrated that now by going to the next step of saying, I want to know even more. And ChatGPT is not going to replace that, with you. It's inherent in you and the interactions you'll have with people, how you'll use that to impact. You heard Masami Sato today talk about. You were in the call, right? I think. With Masami?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, what were your takeaways? This is a Japanese lady who she had a very successful business and she decided it wasn't enough and she wanted to have a bigger impact. And over the last 18 years, she's created small steps for companies to take. Her company is B1G1, buy one, give one. That was her original idea of making socks. And every time sort of now it's kind of prevalent, but you buy socks and she gives it to someone else, and finding ways to do small things like that. Where does she live anyway? Now I don't know. She seems to be always on the road, but maybe London, and I don't think she lives in Japan anymore.
Mm. Yeah, I know. I'm not quite sure either, but no, I mean, just the stuff she's done, it just seems so incredible and so inspiring. And I kind of was asking her about some of the like business culture differences between Japan and other countries and how Japan has sort of this rigidity, in terms of business culture, and sort of a traditionalism, that can be hard to change. And she was saying that yes, while she did feel constrained, by that and wanted to branch out more, in a way, she was also later able to acknowledge like the beauty of certain Japanese cultural aspects, and sort of this community collectivist mindset, that really makes business successful in a different way. So that just really stuck with me, and just kind of seeing, yes, of course, there's cultural differences, but in a lot of ways, there's the positives and the negatives, and you kind of just have to understand those differences. So, but I loved the talk, and seems amazing. So,
Of the companies in the world that are 200 years old and above,
oh my God.
the Japanese population is what, less than 5% of the world's population. Just over 50% of companies over 200 years old are in Japan. And she attributed to that aspect that you talked about, that giving for the collective good, and the way they train new employees at companies and things like that. But I think we can all understand how that works with Japanese culture. And that certainly goes to a big positive that the Japanese culture has.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, did you see the Masami Sato presentation, or see that? If you haven't seen it, I'll send it to you so you can watch the recording if you're interested. She's an amazing lady. She's given 2 presentations now at Global Chamber, and definitely somebody to learn from and to understand what she's been able to do. And to her point, there's so much of it is the Japanese culture, but she also can't fully live in it. It's like that comedian Atsuko, I forget her name, but on Facebook she said, "Can you imagine a Japanese who leaves Japan? Free healthcare, fantastic food, amazing place,
I saw it.
and to leave Japan, what could possibly go that wrong for somebody to do that?" And it's funny, but it's kind of not funny. But I don't know, how do you relate to something like that, Kaoru? Because you've left Japan, but you recognize the strengths of the Japanese culture and other aspects that are less desirable for you personally.
Yeah, I lost a lot of things leaving Japan, right? Like a perfect food. Nobody can beat food in Japan.
Oh.
Wherever you go, like you pay $5 and get perfect food. Not a
It's
chance
true.
here. You need to
Very
pay
true.
$15 for a bad sandwich here, right? So I lost that, and the cheap medical bills. I still go back to Japan to fix my teeth. Without the insurance, still cheaper than here. It costs $3,000 to fix my cavity here. It's only $150 there, and they feel so bad for me because, oh, you need to pay $150 for this. Like, yeah, happy to pay for that one, So the medical aspect too is so good. People are nice, and feel less danger. I mean, Australia is a very safe country, so I don't feel danger here. But Japan, I can trust more things. Things comes on time too. I lost that, but in exchange, I gain like a freedom. I know it's a weird things to say. You don't need to follow certain stigma, or I mean, don't need to like expectation from them. Just the society. Just you have your own will. You can do whatever you want. They respect you, whatever you do, to some extent. Yeah, I don't know. I don't need to be constrained by the like unspoken rules in Japan. So I picked that over the perfectly running system there. So yeah, it comes down to what you want. And I'm sure I can go back to Japan and live happily. I find the happiness anywhere, I think. But now I can compare both cultures, which is more suitable for you. It's just that, you know. And dealing with Japanese companies give me a headache, to be honest. So
Doesn't leaving also give you that a much better perspective on what it is, plus and minus?
Yeah, definitely. I like the engagement with Japanese people, like the previous discussion you guys are having about a cultural language and stuff. Japanese really, really respect and appreciate understanding of the culture when you have a communication. We see foreigners as foreigners. We don't speak certain things in front of them because we don't expect them to understand who we are. So we just keep it very superficial a lot of time. But as soon as you know the person gets us, like it gets our culture, we might go deeper. So that's the things AI never be able to get to. You know, like you can do the business conversation with AI, no problem. Right now, I use AI all the time to appreciate it. But if you want to get closer, more, yeah, then you definitely need to understand the culture. You need to speak their language in terms of the cultural language. It's very difficult, you know. That's why I would say, are you sure you're ready to get into the deep end of Japan? Because otherwise, you know, you won't get the full potential, full experience. If you get there, you're part of Japanese. And do you want to do it, or you want to finish with surface level, or it's up to you. But yeah, Japanese culture is very weird. I have to say that. So you need to have a commitment to, if you want to really, really be the expert of the culture, and then you get rewarded for sure. Yeah.
David, you've jumped in. Alexandra, you're going to jump in. You've already jumped in, but you're going to go in even deeper.
Yeah.
Yuki, would you like to say any last words? We're just right at the top of the hour. Thank you for jumping in at the last minute, and you've been through so much here the last few weeks. Congratulations on all of that. What's next, and what final comments would you like to make?
Yeah, thanks so much for the invite. My next goal is I'm actually going going to Fukuoka, and we are hosting exchange program. So this time we're welcoming 3 students from Philippines, 1 student from Arizona. This is my little test to merge those, foreigners into my rural areas. So we are going to greet the mayor, different local institutions, collaborating with the high school and universities, kind of throwing them into the classroom to see what happens. So that's July. And in August, I cannot leave my husband too long. So I have to go, spend some time with them. Then in September, I'm moving to India. I am becoming a monk in a temple. Then I'll do that for like 3 months. Then
Wow.
coming back to Oregon. So I'm glad, Doug, you mentioned about the speaker, because I've been really wanting to listening to her, because that's kind of how I want to spend my life. So, but that means I might have to give up on having like stable life or like wealth that I would being able to achieve. So going to the temple is kind of, making sure I'm ready for it, and kind of checking in with myself. So I think I need some process for it. And after that, I will keep building a network based in Portland, Oregon, but I be a bridge of all kind of cultures. That'd be my goal.
Amazing. What a great way to end it. Thank you so much for all of you for coming in today and really sharing some really personal, fantastic stories. It's interesting to see the alignment between really all of us at some degree. Definitely not, which culture are we? The 5 of us. It's something hybrid for sure. But I think there seems to be among the 5 of us a deep love and connection to the Japanese culture and appreciation for some of the really amazing things about the culture, that I think we all feel. And one of the things that brings us the affinity to be here and to be talking about it, to recognize that nothing's perfect either. There's things that go off the deep end as you pointed out, but there is such a beautiful thing about the culture that thank you for sharing your stories. It reaffirms for me that there is beauty in it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry, I just want to say something really quick. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all. And Yuki,
Oh,
it's lovely to see you here. Pretty sure you remember me, right? Like Sally, I met you before. And hello also, Kuru.
do
Really good to
you
see
have your
you all.
camera, or do you want to turn?
I
I
can feel the
don't,
S.
I don't have my camera on right now. I'm using my different computer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
My apologies, but I just want to say hi. It's really good to see you. Good luck to all. I'm really happy to attend this meeting. I won't talk more, but I just want to say hi. Good to see you all.
Oh, sorry, I got lulled into forgetting that you were here, Solly.
That's all good. No worries. No worries.
Solly's been working with Alexandra on our chapter growth, and really appreciate both of you very much. You guys have a good rest of your day, and for those of us that are here, I guess it's just Alexandra, Solly, and I. We have the evening to go through, and you guys have what is today, Wednesday there. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, David.
Thank you.